He carries a flask and 2 silver cups, but is not known ever to have been robbed along the way. To rob pilgrims is, of course, a despicable offense, but it happens. In the narrow world of this holy road, this particular pilgrim is a celebrity, the deaf cripple, the laughing penitente, easy to follow. The man following him is a correspondent, a writer and illustrator who has come to Mexico on an advance allowance he wheedled out of the editor of a New York magazine known as Harper's. The correspondent had proposed to write and illustrate 2 articles of a historic nature, both pertaining to the USA's last war, which was the invasion and conquest of Mexico. With a war of secession building up in the United States, he had argued that readers would be receptive to curiosities about that prior conflict, which had been the fiery baptism of all the new commanders, Union and Confederate alike. The new president, Abraham Lincoln, as a young congressman, had opposed that invasion. The correspondent had suggested to the editor that his readership might now have matured to a more sympathetic view of the Mexican cause. And in that preceding war, as in this new one, the role of the slave states had been pivotal. His spiel had convinced the editor to let him try. The American strides along through the traffic of the road, peering ahead, weaving among farmers with their loaded burros, carts whose iron-rimmed wheels rattle and rumble, graceful women in rebozos, carrying bundles or pots on their heads or babies on their hips, boys wearing sandals and loose white cotton, their dark eyes furtively glancing at him, horsemen riding in pairs, their faces and shoulders shaded by broad sombreros. And all these people, going both ways along the shade-dappled road, maneuver around the hunched little black-clad pilgrims who creep tediously onward along the roadsides, all going his way. Hooves clank on stone, soles shuffle, voices murmur and laugh. Somewhere a tenor is singing, and somewhere else there is a flute. Somewhere else the bleat of a goat, languid strumming on guitar strings, birdsong, a crying baby. Yellow dust drifts, full of sun rays, and the correspondent smells hot meat grease, baked cornmeal, charcoal, horse manure. He is thirsty, but not hungry. His feet are sweaty, blistered. He limps, but is ashamed that his trifling discomfort vexes him so much, while the ancient pilgrims go on and on upon their suffering knees, their toes dragging through grit and pebbles behind them. The man he is pursuing has no feet to drag. There he is. It must be the one. A few hundred paces ahead, almost in the middle of the road. He looks more like a toddling dwarf than a crawling penitente. The journalist studies him as he catches up. The pilgrim is actually walking upon his knees, which are his extremities. There are no shins or feet. Closer, it appears that the stumps are fitted into some sort of padded leather device, hoof-shaped. His black trousers are cut off, uncuffed, to reach the tops of the bootlets. The journalist slows a bit, intently observant. Unlike a dwarf, the man is not squat or burly, but rather slender, with a trim waist, and his arms and hands are long. His suit is neat and well-cut, black, but dusty. A leather satchel with buckles hangs at his left side, its strap crossing over his right shoulder. He looks like a stylish traveler, but appears to be less than 4 feet tall. He tips his hat now and then to people coming toward him, showing a head of thick, wavy hair, and some salute him in return. This is not the demeanor of a penitente. Some of the people coming down the hill look at the journalist, that quick, polite appraisal a red-haired foreigner gets in these parts. The cripple senses that they are looking at someone behind him. He stops, turns his head to reveal a long-nosed, delicate profile, neat mustache, then a pair of nearly black eyes, looking up from under the brim of the beaver hat. He notices the writing portfolio, the red hair, the other peculiarities of this foreigner. The journalist stops beside the cripple and bows slightly, touches his forelock in salute, then draws from his pocket the handwritten note he has prepared for this moment. Con perdón. ¿Está tu señor Agustín Juvero? Espero que sí. If the cripple is surprised, his eyes do not reveal it. A sardonic half-smile twitches at the corner of his mouth. He says, "Clearly it will be better if I speak in your tongue, Señor Gringo. Why do you come to accost Agustín Juvero in the sacking and ashes of his penitencia? What do you want of me?" The red-haired one writes another note, this one in English, explaining who he is, the magazine he represents, and the topics of the last war that he hopes to cover in his interview. That is, if Señor Juvero will be so kind. He apologizes for interrupting him on his pilgrimage. The young Mexican reads the note, his lips moving. He looks up, eyes glittering, smile mocking, and says, "Y luego? You want to hear the war story about me? And you want to hear about Don Juan Riley? What a remarkable coincidence, me parece. But my question to you, Señor Reportero, is, do you bring me anything good to drink? If so, I might pause for a refreshment, even with a Yankee. And of course, it would strengthen my memory. I have forgotten as much of all that as I could." Book 1. The Northern Campaign. Chapter 1. Agustín Juvero speaks to the American journalist on the pilgrimage road. "There in the shade by the wall is a bench. Let us sit on it so that I need not look up at you while I talk. Eventually, looking up hurts my neck. And as you can see, I cannot stand as tall as you. Bueno, Ike. Please, let me taste what you carry in your flask." "Thank you." "Ugh. Yeah, this Norte Americano liquor is so bad, I might almost leave some. But no, I will drink it all in order not to insult you in my country. Salud." "What you want from me, you will have to take in the way I give it. I will talk, you will listen. You may not mitigate my story with quibbles or protestations, for I cannot hear them. As you know, I am deaf. From your guns, when your soldiers came here. The one good part of deafness is that I can say all I want without hearing interruptions. All I hear since your guns 14 years ago is inside my head, like the scream of an eagle and the roar of the ocean. I can feel church bells, but not hear them. So, Señor Periodista, here is what I tell people like you, so that you can be comfortable looking at me, and we can smile and be at ease together. When I was a small boy, I was taller than I am now as a man. Aunque parezca extraño, funny enough, it goes better if we are amused. If not, it goes nowhere. So, a new war is beginning up in your country. It is a matter of much interest to us, if not all a matter of delight. We are satisfied that you deserve it. Oh, forgive me. Your President Polk deserves it, but he is already dead anyway. Your new president does not deserve it, I suppose. It is to be seen whether he will earn such deserts. Vale, Providence sees to it that there are enough wars, say 2 or 3 in a man's lifetime if he lives through them, that the human race doesn't forget how to murder on a grand scale. Practice is always needed. God forbid that war should be fought by beginners only, or that weapons should rust or wounds fully heal, or that women should be denied the rich emotion of lamenting lost sons to compensate for the pain of giving them birth. Your war now, gathering up there, promises to be an enormous event, which will solve some long-festering problems and create new ones. We in Mexico know that is always the case. I have read in your newspapers of your armies forming under generals who learned war right in this valley of Mexico. Many of them who fought shoulder to shoulder against us will now fight face to face against each other.